The deck seemed to tremble beneath Jax's boots as he jogged across it at the signal from the deck crew to approach. The smell of fuel and burnt ozone mingled in the air, sending a spike of adrenaline through his veins. He had conducted countless simulated launches and hundreds of real ones. This wasn't even his first launch aboard the Resolute. Since his arrival, they had run takeoff and landing drills until Jax could do it in his sleep. Every launch still lit a fire in his chest. He knew one day it might all blur into routine like the veterans warned him, but for now, he couldn't imagine it. Each catapult shot was pure, heart-racing adrenaline. The deck crew moved like a swarm of color-coded insects, their pressure suits gleaming under the floodlights. Each suit bore reflective strips tracing every contour. The launch bay was pressurized, but in combat, anything could happen, and the suits were designed to keep them alive in case of sudden depressurization. His crew chief, Tanaka, clad in a brown-trimmed pressure suit with amber luminous lines, tugged at Jax's harness and checked his seals, then patted his helmet twice to indicate he was ready.
Jax did a quick circuit of the Striker with Tanaka following him. He manually checked a few seals and access panels before giving the crew chief a thumbs up of approval. The gesture was mirrored back at him, and he turned to climb the boarding ladder.
Dropping into the flight seat, he clipped his harness into place. Tanaka appeared at the top of the ladder and did a final check of his harness before straightening up and sealing in the cockpit. There were two dull thuds as he slapped the cockpit before disappearing. Jax settled into his seat and took a deep breath. Time to wake the bird.
He flicked a series of switches and the panel lights rippled awake, systems booting in a cascade of diagnostics. He ran through his mental checklist as he activated systems, muttering to himself as he did so.
Reactor online.
Power indicators slid into the green.
Fuel valves open.
The lines hissed as pressure climbed. He checked his suit's connection to the ship's life support and activated the onboard system. Filters purged, pressure normalized, oxygen mix stabilizing.
Life support online.
He breathed in the familiar scent of recycled air.
Reaction jets test.
The hull shivered as the RCS fired brief pulses.
Avionics online.
His display flickered to life, targeting reticles and a horizon grid locking to the Resolute's frame.
Internal nav align.
There was no up or down in space, but orienting to the flagship gave them all a shared frame of reference. He glanced at the weapons display.
Play safe for now.
He checked his main engine's readouts. Everything was green. Pumps throbbed low and rhythmic, waiting for throttle. He eased the throttle forward. A deep vibration rolled through the frame as they came to life, their muted rumble building until they settled into a steady pulse. The Striker, trembling in the catapult's grip like a predator waiting to leap.
Main engines online.
Jax gave the board one last scan. Core stable. Fuel pressure? Good. Heat exchangers in the green. The Striker was awake, restrained only by the deck clamps.
Blue 3, final checks.
Came a deck officer's voice through his comms.
3 green.
Jax replied, glancing across his display. Pressure, good. Power, steady. Launch systems, armed. A yellow-shirted crewman knelt ahead of him, giving the spinning signal to bring engines to full. Jax pressed the throttle forward until the Striker roared, shaking against the magnetic holdbacks. The noise was deafening even through the canopy, like standing inside a thunderstorm. His pulse seemed to match the increasing vibration. Across the deck, Cole's fighter was already locked into the next catapult, canopy flashing with streaks of deck light.
Are you ready to go yet?
Cole's voice crackled across the deck channel. Jax grinned so wide his helmet padding pressed into his cheeks. The shooter dropped to one knee, hand on the deck, eyes fixed on the signal officer. The deck light turned from red to amber. Jax braced. Green. The shooter's arm swept forward. The Striker lunged. He was slammed back into his seat as the catapult hurled him forward, 200 meters in less than 2 seconds. The carrier's deck blurred beneath him, a streak of light and steel. The pressure crushed him into the seat, His breath caught in his throat, and for a heartbeat, the edges of his vision started to go dark. Then it was gone. Nothing but stars. Weight vanished. The Resolute disappeared from his field of view behind him in a blink, leaving nothing but stars.
UB Blue 3 clear.
He said, flicking his comms open.
Copy, Blue 3.
The flight controller came back.
Good hunting.
Good hunting.
Cole's voice mimicked as he pulled into formation to Jax's right.
They always say that, but we have yet to get to hunt anything. All we ever do is float around here on Cap, or at most, fly escort and customs missions.
Jax acknowledged his friend, but personally didn't mind. Any reason to get in the cockpit was fine with him. Flying was freedom, and he loved every second of it. Today, they were on customs duty for the mining station, which meant they'd be flying in close formation with other ships. Ahead of him, he watched the freighter Wayfarer as it brought its massive bulk onto the flight course it had been assigned. He keyed his comm on the hailing frequency.
Wayfarer, this is UB Blue 3. We're beginning our approach on you now. Stand by for inspection.
Copy that, Blue 3.
A voice crackled back.
Wayfarer acknowledges, standing by.
Jax eased back on his throttle and rolled his ship so that he was looking up through the cockpit canopy at the cargo ship floating in space, now directly above him. Nothing out of the ordinary that he could see. He rechecked his sensors just to make sure. There were no anomalous readings. Everything looked normal.
Resolute Control, this is UB Blue 3.
He said, keying his mic.
Scans are all showing normal, and visual inspection didn't register anything either. Looks like a regular Orion-class freighter to me.
UB Blue 4, same traffic.
Cole's voice came over the line as he completed his pass on the other side of the ship.
Everything checks out.
Copy that, 3 and 4.
A voice acknowledged.
Stay with it until it docks with the station to be on the safe side.
They can't be serious with this. The thing is a duck, nothing more.
Cole's voice complained over their element channel.
Cool it, Cole.
Jax interrupted. It made him nervous when Cole complained over comm. Just because this channel was intended for communication between a pilot and their wingman didn't mean the XO or Resolute couldn't listen in if they wanted.
I'm just saying.
Cole continued anyway.
We've already scanned it with everything we have, and all but gotten out and knocked on the hull plates to see if they're hollow.
They're just being cautious. That's all.
Jax replied as he continued to stare in awe up at the massive freighter.
Besides, do you have somewhere else to be right now?
The freighter began making its next turn as it navigated around an asteroid between it and the mining station built into the other side of it.
As they cleared the asteroid, Jax's breath caught. The shattered remains of DD-306 CNS Fury loomed before them, a grim monument that was no less daunting despite the numerous times he had seen it. The Fury drifted in ruin, her midsection torn nearly in half. Rescue and salvage ships from the Resolute still worked tirelessly alongside the support ship Lifeline. Even though it had been an Astral Standard week since the attack that had left it like this, they were still finding survivors locked away in pockets of the ship.
Guess not.
Cole responded to Jax's question.
Maybe they were a little justified, too.
The attack, by a large pirate consortium, had left the Fury a scattered wreck. The 2 fighter squadrons attached to the station at roughly half capacity, and millions of credits in lost or stolen goods. From what Jax had heard, 1 freighter had been outright destroyed, and 2 more had been stolen. In response, Task Force 12 had been dispatched as a show of force and to assist until the local garrison could be reinforced.
Resolute Control to all Cap flights.
A voice cackled over the comm.
We have received a distress signal from the Nymora system. The colony there is under attack by unknown assailants and requires immediate help. All quick response flights are being deployed to remain here along with Halberd and Lifeline. Flight leaders acknowledge.
UB Blue Leader acknowledged.
Torch's voice came through.
Acknowledgements came in from the other patrol flight leaders as Jax watched the IFF portion of his display. A flurry of indicators appeared as the quick response fighters launched to reinforce them. Jax's display flickered, the crowded list of call signs thinning as Resolute and the main body of Task Force 12 vanished into FTL. Silence seemed to follow. like the air had gone thin in his cockpit. His display felt hollow, stripped down to just the freighters, lifeline, and the solitary green block of DD-227 Halberd. The streams of sensor feeds and status reports he'd grown used to riding on the carrier's net were suddenly gone, leaving only silence and a thin scattering of data.
A new voice cut across the comnet, sharper and more clipped than the carrier's controller.
All combat elements, this is Halberd Actual. With Resolute away, command authority transfers to me. Tie into our battle net now.
One by one, Jax watched as friendly icons on his display blinked amber, then resolved back into green as their systems synchronized. The emptiness of his display filled once more. Streams of sensor sweeps, targeting solutions, weapon status, all flooding back in, threaded through Halberd's tactical net. It was like being plugged into a much larger nervous system, and its absence was unnerving. He exhaled in relief at the sudden return of order.
UB blue, TA red, IG white.
The destroyer's commander continued.
You are to continue to maintain cap around the station and conduct customs inspections. UB gold, TA blue, and IG black will take up standby formation around Halberd. Angels and Loadmasters remain under Lifeline's tasking. All traffic is to route through Halberd Control. Confirm.
The net quieted again as the flight leaders finished their acknowledgements. But Jax's display was alive with steady streams of information scrolling in the margins, Halberd's sensors feeding him a broader battlespace picture than the Striker could ever provide on its own. He refocused on the task at hand, checking the Wayfarer's status as he settled in for what was shaping up to be a long patrol. Jax yawned as he stared up at the refueling paladin above him. He was on his second refuel since the Resolute had departed, and was growing anxious to get out of his cockpit.
Contact, contact, contact.
The voice from Halberd's CIC came over the comm.
Enemy ship deploying fighters, designated Bogey 1.
Jax's eyes snapped to the display where multiple red markers were appearing. His chest tightened. For a heartbeat, he felt the electric thrill of every simulator kill and training dogfight. But this wasn't a drill. His fingers clenched the throttle. His eyes snapped up at the Paladin's refueling boom still attached above him. His stomach lurched.
Blue 3 to Tapper. How much longer?
He called out, keying the comm.
Almost there, Blue 3.
Came the response.
Jax checked his fuel gauge. 2/3 full would have to be enough.
Go ahead and cut it off, Tapper.
Jax called back, shifting around in his seat to grab the release lever over his shoulder.
Acknowledge Blue 3. Line is dry.
Releasing.
Jax said, pulling the lever. He watched for a split second to ensure the refueling rod was clear, and then shoved his stick forward at the same time as he floored the throttle. The Striker dove away from the Paladin in a storm of blue ozone.
Take it easy, Jax.
Cole's voice called over the comm.
I'm running on fumes over here.
Jax swore under his breath, a sharp sting of guilt hitting him. He hadn't even thought about the fact that Cole hadn't refueled yet. It was a rookie mistake, and he knew it. He should be more situationally aware than this.
Get on the boom and get some fuel. Catch up once you're set.
Jax snapped.
Belay that order!
Torch's voice suddenly cut in on what should have been their private channel.
Blue 4, begin refueling. Blue 3, you stay with your wingman until he is combat ready. Acknowledge.
Blue 3 acknowledges.
Jax said through gritted teeth as he watched the red indicators rapidly approaching. He hit a button on his comms panel to unmute the fleet channel.
Blue Flight still has a ship needing fuel.
He heard Torch explaining.
Current status is not combat effective. ETA to refuel, minimum is 10 minutes.
Acknowledged, Blue Leader. Have your flight stay in formation with Halberd and IG White. All other flights begin intercept run.
Jax slammed a fist against his console, jaw tightening, as he watched the indicators for the other flight streak away. His whole body itched to join the others' maneuver to intercept the incoming threat.
Blue Flight, we're staying with Halberd on this one.
Torch's voice crackled.
Blue 3, once 4 has finished fueling, I want you two to take up station keeping on the port side.
Blue 3 acknowledges.
Sinking back into his seat with a growl of frustration, eyes fixed on the incoming data stream from Halberd. It looked like 2 full squadrons of light and medium fighters coming in from a converted bulk freighter. This had to be the pirates again, but why attack the same place twice? Jack sat and listened helplessly as the radio chatter suddenly increased as the fighters finally met and engaged the enemy.
Spectre, tally bandits 213 Mark 18.
Kodiak's got tone. Missile away.
Glitch, break left. You've got one on your 6.
Rogue, splash 1. Repeat, bandit down.
Mongoose, I'm blind on you. Check in.
That's a kill!
Havoc, watch that merge, bandit cutting across your nose.
Echo's hit. Losing power. Punching out. Punching out.
Mongoose is gone. Havoc, form up on me.
Nomad, tally multiple vectoring on me. Need cover now.
Halberd Control, this is VS Red Leader.
A voice suddenly cut across the chatter.
Void Stalkers and Warhammers have managed to cobble together a few flights and would like to lend a hand if we may.
Jax had been so focused on the battle going on, he had completely missed the incoming formations from the mining station. As he caught sight of them, his throat tightened. The remnants of the 542nd Flak and 128th Heavies looked battered even at a distance. Scarred hulls, patchwork plating flying short of full strength, but they were coming anyway, dragging themselves back into the fight anyway. The sight hit him harder than the comm chatter. Broken but not beaten.
Blue 4 refuel complete.
Cole's voice came over the flight line.
Reforming on Blue 3 now.
Jax muted the fleet line so he could focus on the flight chatter.
Acknowledge Blue 4.
Torch's voice came back.
Looks like we've got a few more joining the party, so everybody stand by to integrate them into the formation.
Contact! Contact! Contact!
Halberd's CIC squawked on all frequencies.
Multiple combatants, unknown classes, mass estimates are cruiser size. Designate Bogey 2.
Jax's heart stuttered. He stared in shock at the markers on his display. 2 cruisers in this close was bad. It was very bad. The Halberd couldn't take on 2 cruisers.
Blue flight, on me.
Torch called over the comm, and Jax jerked on the stick, slamming the throttle forward to come around on her vector. Panic spiked in him. What was she thinking? They were outmassed, outgunned, and divided with the rest of the fighters already tangled up. It felt like suicide. As his striker came around, though, it all finally clicked, and he had to swallow his anger at himself for not realizing it earlier. The cruisers were also converted freighters, obviously pirate ships. While they outmassed the Halberd by a significant margin, they were not originally built to be warships. More importantly, the pirates' carefully laid plan had been foiled by bad luck. The improvised carrier was supposed to have lured all the fighters away from the Halberd, but thanks to the refueling that had been in progress, both UB Blue and IG White had been forced to stay behind. On top of that, the remnants of the 542nd and 128th had also formed up on the Halberd. The 2 makeshift cruisers probably would have been able to easily take on Halberd on their own, and either destroyed or captured her. But without their own fighter escorts to occupy Halberd, nothing was stopping the Flaks and Heavies from tearing through their semi-armored hulls. A chill went through Jax as the truth settled in. Capture. That had to be their goal. They hadn't come for cargo this time. They wanted ships, and if the distress call had been their trap, they had almost gotten away with it. Jax drew in a sharp breath. He wasn't going to miss the fight after all. This was it. No more drills. No more exercises. He tightened his grip on the stick and set his jaw as adrenaline surged.
Into the black.
Reaper called out, standing in front of the squadron flag, holding his drink high above his head.
Unbroken!
The room shouted in response, raising their own drinks. The cheer echoed against the metal bulkheads.
We celebrate tonight not just because we fought well, but because every one of us is here to drink together. No casualties.
He paused, the weight of those words heavy in the room as he tapped his glass lightly against the curtain of dog tags. The clink echoed, a reminder of how rare that was.
That doesn't happen often. So make the most of it. Flights are stood down for 24 hours. Relax, celebrate, get some rest. Please take showers.
Rinse, ration, rack!
Several of the veterans chanted with a laugh. The ready room erupted in laughter and cheers. Music thumped from a speaker, bass rattling faintly through the deck plates. The reek of alcohol mixed with sweat, coolant, and the faint sting of burnt ozone still clung to their flight suits. No one seemed to care about regulations in the ready room, and Jax had decided that it was intentional. They needed a space to unwind and relax, to let loose from the strictures of naval life. Or maybe it was more than that, he thought, glancing at the curtain of dog tags. In a place where pilots often didn't come back, every night after a fight was a night to celebrate simply being alive. The ready room was packed with people as friends of pilots had been invited to join in the celebration, and Jax was jostled around as he tried to make his way through the room. The press of bodies and the vibration of shouted laughter made him feel caged. He longed for the cockpit. Quiet, infinite, open. As he squeezed through a gap in the crowd, a big man in an engineering uniform straightened up suddenly and knocked Jax backwards into someone else. He turned and saw Mira gathering herself back up, holding onto a partially spilled drink.
Sorry,
Jax said hurriedly.
It's fine.
Mira responded, arching a brow with a crooked smile.
First combat and you're already spilling drinks?
The way she smiled made his stomach tighten even more, and she looked like she was about to say something else. But before she could, Jax shoved his way onward through the crowd, berating himself as he did so for his awkwardness. He found a table at the edge of the room and slumped down in one of the chairs, sliding his untouched drink onto it. He had never had much of an interest in drinking alcohol. The feeling of not being fully in control of his own self was not something he found enjoyable. Adrenaline was still lingering in his veins, but under the surface, a knot was growing in his stomach. He had flown through his first real combat. That was something. But while the squadron traded stories of close calls and near misses, he knew his role had been mostly escort. He had covered the heavies while they carried out their attacks on the pirate cruisers. Important, yes, but he felt like a shadow in someone else's victory.
On a couch a little ways away, Devon was halfway through reenacting his dogfight, standing over those sitting on the couch, arms carving loops in the air as the others howled.
I swear he had me dead to rights. I cut throttle, pulled hard under him, and bam! He overshot so fast, I thought I was flying backwards. Torched him before he even knew what happened.
Devon flopped back into his seat with a massive grin on his face as he took a drink from his cup. Mateo laughed, then leaned in, his grin just as wide as Devon's.
That's nothing! You all saw it. That pirate was screaming straight at me, missiles already in the air. I juked right between them like they weren't even there. They flew past me. Bandit blinked, I blinked, and then...
He snapped his fingers.
I nailed him square in the cockpit.
Sure was some impressive flying out there.
Viper, Goldflight's lead, agreed.
Maybe we should start calling you Juke.
Oh, right.
Rook, a pilot from Black Flight, said with loud realization.
This was your first combat mission. We have to name you.
I'm good with Juke,
Mateo said, leaning back in his chair with a smile.
I don't know,
Viper said, rubbing his chin in thought.
Seems just as likely it was just luck out there today. Maybe we should call you Lucky?
Mateo jerked forward, a protest erupting from his mouth, but it was drowned out by the sudden chanting of Lucky.
Lucky, lucky, lucky.
Mateo mocked resignation. The squadron had spoken. He stood up and took a bow, clearly eating it up. The table pounded in rhythm, glasses thudding, boots stomping, until the chant rolled through the whole room. Jax clapped along, but jealousy pricked at him. He wanted that story, that moment where everyone slapped your back and shouted your new name. Instead, all he had was the memory of heavy cannons tearing into converted freighters while he flew circles to cover them. Jax's thoughts were suddenly interrupted by Cole flopping down into the seat next to him. Jinx and Clutch from Red Flight sat down across from them as a deck chief that Jax didn't recognize pulled up a chair at the end. Jinx was opening a case of poker chips, and Clutch started shuffling a deck of cards.
I like that.
Clutch said, glancing toward the commotion around Mateo.
Lucky. It fits.
What do you think we should call the boys here?
Jinx said, jerking her chin toward Jax and Cole as she counted out poker chips.
Oh, that's easy,
Came a voice from behind Jax, and he turned to see Torch standing there.
Always running his mouth? Always acting like he's about to save the day?
I think I resent that.
Cole said, turning to look at her.
Resemble is more like it.
Jinx said with a grin as she shrugged a strand of her bright red hair out of her face. Cole turned back with a hurt expression on his face, and she laughed.
Hot shot!
Torch said definitively.
Yeah,
Clutch laughed.
our own hot shot.
The chant caught quickly.
Hot shot! Hot shot! Hot shot!
Voices layered, fists hammering the table until Cole spread his arms wide like a conquering hero, grinning as if he'd been waiting his whole life for the moment. Jinx started to slide stacks of chips to those at the table, but Jax put up a hand to intercept them.
No thanks.
He said matter-of-factly and stood up from the table.
Not my game. Besides, I could use a shower.
Cole leaned back, smirking as he tossed in his first bet.
He doesn't gamble,
he explained to the others.
Not with cards anyway.
Torch spoke up.
He was ready to gamble with both your lives today to get into the fight.
Jax grimaced at the reminder of his shortcoming.
Taking risks like that is like betting against the house.
Torch continued, making eye contact with him and holding it. Her voice softened a fraction.
And the house always wins. Best you both remember that.
Jax nodded his understanding, and she returned the nod. He had learned his lesson, and she knew it. Jax squeezed through the crowd to the hallway and made his way back to his room. The roar of the ready room faded behind him, replaced by the hush of the corridor. For the first time all day, the silence felt heavier than the noise. He was suddenly exhausted,